To be an it girl dating a man means you are ready to risk humiliation, public humiliation.
Y'all ain't finna clown off me. Y'all ain't finna take me for no joke.
Cut the show. I'm done. Take me off.
But we can't all like PR train our fucking boyfriends. Like, imagine, like, I've thought about that before.
Bitch, what I was trying to say is this situation got me so wet and so dry at the same time. Exactly.
What's up, bitches? Welcome back to another episode of So Wet, So Dry. I'm one of your hosts, Fiji, like the island, like the water. I've been wearing my hair exclusively up because it's too hot to breathe right now, and I work in social media and marketing.
And I'm your other host, Autumn. Like the season, social anxiety has an extreme chokehold on me right now, and I work in entertainment. But if you guys are new here, listening for the very first time, what we do on So Wet, So Dry is we explore duality through deep diving topics about sex, relationships, personal identity, and all where internet trends and reality collide. So we post polls for every single episode that we do to give you guys a chance to have your voice heard. So make sure you're following us on Instagram so you can be a part of that. We post polls every single week for the upcoming episodes. And whatever you're doing right now, make sure that you are subscribed or followed, whatever platform you're on. And give us a like, give us 5 stars, anything you can do to engage. It literally takes 5 seconds, and it would mean so much to us. Join our community of confused pussies.
Yes, and today we are talking about Sabrina Carpenter's new song, Please, Please, Please. We're talking about how your man treats you has become a social status among women. We're talking about how our boyfriends can embarrass us and alienate us from our female audiences. We're talking about it girls, Charlie XCX, all of the things. But before we get into that, we want to shout out our episode sponsor, Taylor Mushrooms.
You guys know we love a little high, so we were super excited when they reached out to us, and typically Fiji doesn't even smoke like that. I do smoke, but I never do edibles, but these are super good, and we're going to tell you why. Taylor Mushrooms are 100% legal euphoric mushroom gummies delivered straight to your door. Taylor blended a little mushroom extract with a little THC to create a one-of-a-kind feeling. Half of a Taylor gummy will relieve tension and stress, the perfect dose to ease anxiety or ensure a great night of sleep. A full Taylor gummy will deliver a calming, euphoric state of mind. The perfect dose for an outdoor adventure, a chill night in, a vibrant night out, or even turning up the heat with your partner.
Okay, yes. And as Autumn said, you know, I don't smoke weed, so I was a little nervous to take these for the first time. It says to take half, but I took a whole one. I found myself wanting to be super creative. I did this little pot art project with Jean and some like disco stickers that I had around. We'll show you guys on the screen.
It looks good as fuck.
Right. Like overall, they're just kind of like my after work late night vibe. Like I'll eat one, I'll watch a show, I'll do something creative, I'll chill. And yeah, I love them. So you guys should check them out. We're offering a discount, 50% off to the first 50 So Wet So Dry listeners that go over to taylor.store. That's TAILOR.store. And the code is WET, W-E-T, for 50% off.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say too, like, I honestly am like kind of looking into like taking a break from smoking THC, like weed, whatever. And so like this is honestly like so great for me to be able to like try something different and like still get a little bit of that like relaxation, anxiety reducing feeling that I love that I do get from weed, but without all of the other stuff that you also kind of get from weed as well. Like I feel like this is just like a much more wholesome way. So if any of y'all are looking to like cut back on smoking or anything, like this is honestly a great way to do that and still get a little something. And 50% off is crazy.
Yes. And
so
they come fast too. They come in the mail super quick. So
yeah, so definitely take advantage. And we are happy to honestly just be able to give you guys something and like share something with y'all in that way. But now we're going to start the episode the way we always and usually do. We're talking about what we're so wet and so dry about in this very moment, and I will go first. It's always you that does this.
I know.
Tricky. So basically, I'm so wet. I did kind of have a good dream last night. So it was like about this guy that I hooked up with like before my celibacy started. But it wasn't him that made it hot. It was the setting. So it's like we were at some sort of like you guys understand, like dreams are weird, right? So like we were at like a camp, but we were adults. Like we weren't children, but it was just like normal. Like in this universe, like adults go to camp.
That would be kind of hot though, an adult summer camp.
Okay, wait, bitch. So like we had to sleep like kind of like not with someone that you're fucking. Like it wasn't co-ed, but it was just like you can't sleep next to someone that you're fucking. And like all night I'm like in this guy's ear like can't wait to like suck your dick like under the fucking blankets so no one sees us. And like we kept trying and we kept getting caught. And then like I ended up with like the woman in charge of the camp, and then like me and her were kind of like flirting, and like so it was just like overall a really crazy and vivid fucking dream. And it really took place between like 4 a.m. and like 11 a.m. this morning, because I woke up at 3:30, like turned off the TV. It was like very chaotic and loud, went to sleep, and that's when the dream started. So I was really wet about it. Like I woke up really horny. So I just love any type of like
wet dream, like
wet dream, but also like the camp and like the rustic vibe. Like we were in the woods.
Match. It's kind of like those reality shows. Like that's the only time, like Love Island, Perfect Match, they like go on a little camp together.
Stop. And that makes so much sense because I've been watching Total Drama Island on Cartoon Network. And
I've never heard of that.
It's like it's an old show. Like, but I played Total Drama Island on Roblox. So I was like, oh my God, I want to like be the characters. I had never seen the show. And I love cartoons. And then, so I think maybe that's why, because they're in the woods at a fucking camp and they're adults, but they're on a reality show. It's like a spoof of reality shows. But anyways, yeah, super wet dream.
Okay, super wet. Mine's not as wet. Also about something I watched kind of. I guess I've been like kind of getting back into my routine after Vegas, after chaos. I'm like working out, all of that again. But I watched the Dallas Cowboy Cheerleaders documentary, which you still haven't watched yet.
Babe. No spoilers.
Okay, no spoilers for real. But I was just watching it, like totally admiring like dancers and gymnasts, you know, because growing up, like I did dance for like 2 years when I was like really young, but I was always a sports girl. And I'm not gonna lie, like I was a little judgy towards like cheerleaders, like dancers, whatever, like, oh, they're not really real athletes. Like I feel ashamed after being a stripper. After being a stripper and like not being able to do like any of that shit, watching how hard these girls work, I I was on the treadmill just like, yes, I want to go faster. Like I want to do more. I will say it's a little culty though. Little culty, like very Christian. And also they don't get paid enough. You know, they make like 20 to 30K.
I did.
Yeah, so like I hope that they have the trajectory that the U.S. women's national soccer team did, where they like fought for better pay, like that type of stuff. But overall, I admire those women. So yeah.
And it's crazy because like we wouldn't think that they don't make a lot of money. Like deadass, in my mind, they're rich. They're good
icons.
To go.
They're
but
like the most
famous
cheerleaders. Yeah.
The reality. Yeah, that's crazy. Well, my dry is kind of what I already said before, but I basically like I went home to the East Coast for like 12 or 13 days, and I was with my family, so I wasn't like smoking as much as I normally do, because I was like trying to be present. Like I have a younger brother with like mental health issues, like just not trying to have weed flowing through the parents' house, you feel me? So I was definitely like not smoking as much. And then when I got back to California, I was like back on my bullshit, like smoking a lot. And bro, like I kid you not, like I always say, like I don't get high. I was so high yesterday. It's like bad. Like my eyes were closed. Like I was like, wait, like this is horrible. I'm like too tired to go up and like get some water. Like I really smoked myself into like panic, and now I'm like literally smoking right now. But like I'm just like, I need to cut down, take a break, or, you know, do it after 4 p.m. or like something. Like I do want to do that. I don't want to be like a day smoker anymore. Like I don't know. It's just, like, not fun anymore. So that's why I was being so for real about those gummies. Like, even those gummies, but also, like, CBD gummies with, like, a little bit of THC. Like, I am trying to, like, transition into something like that. So I'll keep you guys posted on my journey with that.
Yes.
It's going to be a really big money saver as well. So I'm trying to let that be the motivation. Because, honestly, like, having an extra, like, whatever, how much I spend on weed, you guys, like... It's like $80 a week. So 80 times 4 is...
That's like groceries.
Yeah.
That's like a whole order of groceries. Yeah.
No, but what's 80 times 4?
But I mean, I spend that on cigarettes probably because I spend like at least $10 every day or 2 days.
Babe, what is 8 times 4? I like can't remember.
32.
Okay. So I spend $320 a month on weed. If I had an extra $320 a month.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like, my Amazon cart.
No, and think about these gummies. They're like $15, I think, with the discount. And there's 5 gummies in each pack. So that's like 1 every weeknight.
1 per day.
Like, you're good. Or you can take half. But I'm dry about 2 really stupid things. One is that my pussy hair grows back really fucking fast. And I get waxed. I don't know if it's because it's hot out, guys, and I, like, work on my balcony in the heat, whatever. Like, I usually have little shorts on. I have been getting so many ingrown hairs. And it's, like, weird because when you get waxed, like, every 4 to 6 weeks, it doesn't grow back as much as it, like, used to. So when I get waxed, then the other little hairs are growing. And it's just, like, I can't find a balance. I still would pick it over shaving, but
I think it's the heat too, babe. Like, I think it's like you're working out a lot, you're sweating, and like for you, like you need to. This is where like I kind of fucked up. Like when I work out, if you don't take off your shorts like immediately, even if you think you don't sweat, like that shit will give you ingrown hair.
Yeah, because I usually work out then walk my dog, which is like still part of the workout ish.
Yeah.
But yeah, I need to do better. But the other little thing I was just going to say is like one thing Autumn and I have struggled with the podcast is finding articles that aren't behind a fucking paywall and like subscriptions and stuff like that, which has been like super frustrating. And especially for this episode, for some reason, I was trying to find like articles that applied and every good one was behind a paywall. But I did have a friend that told me about this website called 12ft.io. So if you guys are looking for good articles, put it into there and it jumps the paywall. So just thought I'd give it a plug. I mean, honestly, I haven't
tried it yet. Yeah.
But she's a journalist. She uses it and she told me it's good. I already had the episode done. So yeah. Okay, so as I said before, today we're talking about boyfriends being fucking embarrassing, alienating us from our female audiences, it girls, But before we get into all the rest of the other stuff, we asked you guys, has your man ever embarrassed you? And 69% of you guys said yes. 31% said no. I have definitely been embarrassed by a boyfriend. Have you?
I'm just like, I don't know, babe. I think like I really was trying to think about this like last night. Like I think like I've been embarrassed to talk about who I'm dating to other people. But never was there ever a situation in public where I was like, wow, that's embarrassing.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. That's
right?
Good. I've definitely, because I feel like there's
with men, I mean, it's only been one guy. Like, I don't think he ever did anything.
And we're going to talk a little bit. We have like a short section about queer relationships and how girlfriends and non-binary people and whatever can obviously be embarrassing as well. Any partner that you're dating can be embarrassing. Your friends can be embarrassing. Your parents, But like, I think there's this thing with men specifically, and there's a lot going on like TikTok, Twitter, where it's like, love your man in private, not in public. You know, people are soft launching, not public launching.
Right. It's the men, because the men like is equivalent to the social status and it goes hand in hand. Whereas like lesbians, like, not as much. Like you don't really judge other lesbians based off their partner as much as you do with straight people. So I think I get it.
Yeah, that definitely plays a part. So like There's two different types of responses when we asked you guys this, and I want to get like the little ones out of the way first. So we're just going to go back and forth and read some of these listener stories of people who were embarrassed by their partner. So the first one said just yes, but not in public. Another person said my ex had let out the nastiest, loudest, goofiest laugh to his own lame-ass joke.
Because that's like getting the ick, in my opinion.
Yeah, like it's kind of like beige flag-esque. Like,
right. This person said, ex would only play his trash-ass music around my friends.
This other person said, my boyfriend had a habit of talking to me at a normal volume when he should definitely be whispering or pulling me aside. I think it's because he just has trouble hearing, to be honest. But, like, in front of his siblings, he asked me if it's okay if we all hang out together, ... Like, they're right there and can hear us. Come on.
Bro, our listeners are actually hilarious. Like, that's so funny. And then this last person said, if I'm arguing with my man in the car and I start crying, no, the fuck I'm not getting out. I don't care.
Yes.
That is so relatable.
Dude.
I like want that on a t-shirt. That is so fucking relatable. That happened to me so much.
No, same. I remember one time a guy I was talking to, I was like, I cannot go anywhere, but I needed cigarettes. Like, I need to go to the store. He gave me a pair of sunglasses, and I was just like around with my sunglasses. But yeah, I've definitely had, I can think of like specifically my last ex did a lot of just embarrassing shit. Like I think he had a kink for public humiliation sometimes. Like sometimes he would do shit like.
For real.
Like we're going to get into some of the more like toxic, embarrassing things a little bit later. So I'm not going to go super in deep till we get to that. But he had this one thing he loved to fucking do where he'd be like, oh, your breath. Like, in public.
I know.
And it was like, my breath never smelled bad. Like, I had just brushed my teeth. I would have gum,
smells,
whatever. But he would just, like, die laughing because he thought it was so fucking funny. And I'm like, this is not funny.
That would actually make me so up. And think about, not just one time. This man, he did it to you constantly. Like, it was a new joke
like a
the
middle
next
schooler.
Day.
Like, he was literally a middle school boy. Like, he thought it was so funny. He would also, when we went out together, he had another kink for, like, making fun of people, like, secretly, but, like, loudly. Kind of like this person that's talking about whispering, but not really whispering. Like, say we'd be in line to go into a bar or something like that, and he'd be like, yo, like, their shoes, like, whatever. But, like, and, like, be laughing loudly. But I'm like, can we not? Like, I'm not trying to, like, have these people look at us. What if they want to fight us right now? Like, chill. So those were just some little things that I feel like he did that were, like, crazy. But, yeah, men can be, like, definitely super, super embarrassing. And we're going to get into a TikTok, like, a little bit later that kind of sparked this whole idea. But a lot of it is coming off of Sabrina Carpenter's new song, Please, 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 where she hard launches her new boyfriend, whose name is... Okay, his name is Barry Keoghan. Sorry, guys. Again, like, women are more relevant than men are. I just didn't know. But he is in Saltburn, and it's a good movie. But we're gonna just read the lyrics of this song. Autumn, do you know?
It's so crazy because, like, in my mind, she's just like a single lesbian. So
I would she's never a femme. Yes, she gives femme lesbians so bad.
But yeah, okay. So, anyways, guys, we're gonna break down, please, 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 the iconic lyrics, if you will. So, I'm not gonna sing it, guys. I really want to, but I'm not going to. Okay, so stop asking. I know I have good judgment. I know I have good taste. It's funny and it's ironic that only I feel this way. I promise them that you're different and everyone makes mistakes, but just don't. Wait, what the fuck?
But just don't. Like, don't make mistakes.
Right, but just don't. I know, but okay. Can I start over, babe?
No, just keep going. I think you're doing a good job.
Okay. I heard that you're an actor, so act like a stand-up guy. Whatever devil's inside you, don't let him out tonight. I tell them it's just your culture, and everyone rolls their eyes. Yeah, I know. All I'm asking, baby, please. Sorry. Please, please, please don't prove I'm right. And please, please, please don't bring me to tears when I just did my makeup so nice. Heartbreak is one thing, my ego's another. I beg you, don't embarrass me, motherfucker.
Motherfucker.
Please, please, please. Well, I have a fun idea, babe. Maybe just stay inside. I know you're craving some fresh air, but the ceiling fan is so nice. And we could live so happily if no one knows that you're with me. I'm just kidding. But really, kind of, really, really.
Yeah, so that last part I thought was hilarious because I didn't notice that part as much in the song when I listened to it. But when I was looking at the lyrics, I'm like, this is that, like, love him in private, don't post him. Like, you like him, you really fuck with him, but you're really nervous that he's going to embarrass you in public and, like, humiliate you.
Right,
you know?
because he probably will.
Because he probably will. So we found this article from Refinery 29 talking about Sabrina Carpenter's new song. And it says there's something undeniably ironic about a rising young artist hard launching her relationship and a song where she pleads with a partner not to embarrass her. Please, Please, Please is an incredibly strong follow-up single to Espresso as both songs continue to dominate the charts. The internet has embraced the lyrics and music video to turn them into a flood of relatable content. My TikTok For You page has been video after video of creators lip syncing to that unforgettable line. Many are standing next to their boyfriends, playfully begging them not to embarrass them by acting like a jerk. One focuses on the classic scenario of a girl who either actively hard launched a relationship with a guy or is contemplating it while wrestling with the anxiety of the relationship going south after making it public. Some creators are reflecting on the anxiety of being in long-term relationships and doing, quote, wife duties, such as maintaining the home while on, quote, girlfriend salary, only to worry about overinvesting in a relationship that their partner might want to end. As @Killa Kushla puts it, when you're finally in your lover girl era, so it's either it's going to end in marriage or embarrassment. And then we have the queer community shout out. The queer community, particularly lesbians, have reinterpreted the line to refer to the underlying worry some lesbians feel when dating a woman who has never dated another woman before. There's a fear that once they go public with this partner, they might realize they're actually not into women or don't want to date them, leading to embarrassment. A popular TikTok that encapsulates this from @CoolMary, who writes on screen, when you came out to your Catholic family for her, as the song plays.
No, dude. No, dude. The end of that is fucked up. I do not agree with that shit.
Why? Because you think she shouldn't
When you came out to your Catholic... Bro, you didn't come out for her.
Okay, yeah. You should have came out anyway. Yeah.
The fuck?
But I'm like, it's all in good fun. It's just a cute little TikTok trend. It's just a cute little...
And then the part that it's like, so either it's going to end in marriage or embarrassment is like so crazy that those are the standards like we put on ourselves as women. Because it's like, damn, I don't want either of those things. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, that's actually crazy. But it's so like, I get that that's how like people are really feeling right now.
Yeah, because I think it's just like so much more public, like especially someone like Sabrina Carpenter. She's kind of at the top of her career right now. She's had a top charter, like she has a second one. Like it's been a thing in the media, as we're going to get into, with like big stars, especially women, being super embarrassed by their boyfriends and then that knocking off like their social credit or their friends, like looking at them like us regular people. It's more like your friends, like your family, like shit like that.
Yeah. And I don't know the exact lore, to be honest with you, but I know that her and Olivia Rodrigo did date the same person. And then she's
stole the other woman.
The blonde in like Olivia Rodrigo's lyrics, like she talks about you're always with that blonde girl, like that was about Sabrina.
Yeah.
So I feel like for her, like she already had something where like songs were written about her in like not a good way. And then she's famous, and now she does this. Like, it's definitely a lot. Like, that was a move, you know?
Yeah. It's definitely, like, when you, like, announce a relationship or announce something with, like, a guy, it's really, like, you are kind of putting your, like, ego, like, whatever, up for, like, debate and other people's opinions and all that shit, which is...
But why is it like that? Like, why can't we just let everyone, like, be, bro?
Like... I'm fucking saying.
It would be nice. Yeah.
It would be nice. All right. So next we're going to get into some more like toxic, bad things that your man can do that's super fucking embarrassing. And we have this one TikTok to that Sabrina Carpenter song that I'm not going to play because we don't want to get copyrighted. But it says, this line is so funny because why do men genuinely never understand when they're being embarrassing? Liking other girls' posts, being nice to other girls, never posting you. They will do all of that and more and still not understand how that would be embarrassing. So this kind of goes into the whole like ego idea of things. Like me and Autumn feel differently about certain stuff. Like I don't know if I find it embarrassing that a guy is liking another girl's picture. Like maybe if it's his
or
ex.
being nice to other girls.
Yeah,
would you prefer that he's mean? Like I know what they mean is like overly nice, like flirty, like going out of your way to be like, oh, do you need a refill of your drink? Like that's different, but like she should have phrased it differently.
But like just be, and that's the hard thing that we're gonna get into is like when it's the core of a female audience, different women have come together and found certain things embarrassing and hold it against other women. So something you might not find embarrassing, another woman does and will call you out on it. So we asked you guys, we picked 4, and we said, what is the most embarrassing thing that your man can do? Talk to you crazy in front of others, 1 at 47%. Cheating on you is 2nd at 33%. Share unsavory political opinions is at 14%. And not pay for things is at 6%. And honestly, like the not pay for things is not surprising to me that it was so low because of our audience. But like that is also a very big one on like TikTok and stuff like that. Like, oh, if you're the breadwinner in the relationship or you're providing, like that's like an embarrassing thing for women.
Right.
So that's a big one. But like talk too crazy in front of others. I think I voted for that one too. I've had that happen. It is the fucking worst.
Yeah, I think that one is the most embarrassing thing because then it's just like, even if they don't, it very much looks like that's how they talk to you constantly.
Yeah.
And like most of the times it probably is, but sometimes it's like we all have bad moments, but it's like that's just like horrible. But the unsavory political views is like kind of the only one that I can really, really relate to. Like, luckily, I've never had someone talk to me crazy in front of other people. Like, I've kind of been cheated on, but like we were open. Like, I've just been left for someone else directly twice, bitch. Yeah. So, you know, I just feel like a little cheater kind of vibes there. But the political views, I've literally been like, you need to like unfollow this person because like if my friends go to your profile like that, please no.
Right.
No. So that's extremely embarrassing to me, like because I've just been through it and I can relate to it. So
yeah, and our episode next week is going to be more on like political views and stuff. So we'll get into it. I know I've definitely asked partners to not share some of their views in public in certain situations because I'm like, that would embarrass me. Like, no, like you can have your views, I guess, but like know when to talk about it. Please don't bring that up around other people. I don't know.
Especially when your views are fucking hateful.
Right. Bye. Like, but talking to you crazy in front of others, like this was a huge one for me because again, like guys, my ex was like toxic, abusive, all of the things. Like I remember one time, like probably the most embarrassing was in Boston. My mom came to visit. It was like her birthday or like Mother's Day or something. I
remember this, I think.
Yeah, and like my ex like was around, like he like insisted upon coming, and it was like one of the first times she had met him. Like it was weird, and he was just like, he was acting a fucking fool. Like, I think he was helping us move stuff in and out, but like he took his shirt off. He was like drinking a beer on the front steps. Like he was smoking cigarettes. He was just acting like his regular self, but like it was not the time because my mom was there. And then we went to go watch Shakespeare in the fucking park. And he just like kept like coming over and leaving and pouting. And like he was the definition of like an emo boy, like pouting, like I don't like it wasn't even like he said anything crazy. Yeah, but you'd think when you're around someone's mom, like you would act a little better. He definitely had like said like mean things to me in public, like all of that stuff. But like even partners that weren't toxic or abusive have said things to me in public where I'm like, why the fuck would you say that around other people? Because now you're giving them cause to think that our relationship is like that all the time when it's not. And I don't necessarily want to start fighting with you right now. Like I'm the type of person where if you say something that like offends me or is talking to me crazy like in public, I'm going to probably wait to address it until we're alone because I don't want to embarrass you and me more by looking like the toxic couple. But like, you know.
Right. And even if you're whispering some shit that's mean and then it makes you cry, like you're ruining everything right now, like my whole emotional space. But yeah, babe, it's like absolutely fucking horrible. Like,
yeah.
with your mom, like, I would have, it's, like, very emotional, honestly.
And it's awkward. Like, I mean, we've all been out with a couple before where, like, they're fighting and you feel, like, uncomfortable when you're around them. Like, that's the shit, too, where it's just, like, I don't know. Like, I feel like women are way more conscious of, like, how other people see them. And maybe we're a little bit more, like, afraid of, like, our ego. Guys seem to not care sometimes. Like, sometimes they're just like, fuck it. I'm just going to talk to her how I always would. And it's too much. But we had some stories. Someone said, being in an open relationship yet still lying is cheating. Having those girls reach out to you about it. We need to talk about weaponized incompetence on the part of men, how to treat people.
Who submitted that? Who submitted that? That is so good. That is so, so good. I love that so much.
Weaponized incompetence, yes. Like,
and the being in an open relationship lying is fucking cheating, bro. Like, that's so real. And this next person said, one time I didn't tell my friends about my ex-boyfriend talking to other girls on Tinder while in a relationship with me because I knew they would tell me to end it with him and I couldn't bear to hear it. Again, real as fuck.
Real as
you know?
fuck.
And sometimes it is okay to, like, keep things to yourself, to, like, protect yourself as long as you don't keep it to yourself for a year. You know, give yourself, like, a couple of weeks, like, but at that point, it's like if you're scared to tell people that you love and people that you trust something about your partner, it's never a good sign.
Yeah.
Like, it really isn't. I guess there's, like, some crazy circumstance in which it could be, but I feel like that's, like, the biggest thing. Like, those are people you love and trust for a reason. Like, your partner should blend into that. They just should.
Yeah, and it's weird because, like, you know, when I was in my relationship or whatever, I would usually tell Autumn everything that was going on, but it got to a point where I was like, okay, like, this is a little too much. And I do think, like, now more when I deal with people, I don't tell all of my friends everything that happens all the time because, like, I feel like it's also some part of, like, maturity as you get older and you, like, have a relationship with one person, like, to respect them. Sometimes you don't want to just tell everybody everything, but, like, you know, when you need to vent and you need your friends to be there for you, like, you should be comfortable enough to open up. And I know guys a lot of times will be like, oh, and don't go tell your friends about this, don't go da-da-da, because they know what we're gonna say to each other, you know? But, like,
which is such a red flag. And my ex used to say that to me all the time. And I was like, bet, like, I fucking will. Like, you know I'm going to, especially now that you said that. I feel like I actually have to.
Because why are you trying to, like, isolate me from telling them? Like, But
and
I do think it's
they're
a thing.
joking, but
yeah, I do think it's a thing. Like, I've definitely had, like, friends in the past, like, and I've done it to people too, where it's like, oh, why are you with him? Oh, you should leave him already, and you're, like, not ready to yet, and then it's like you don't want to tell them anything anymore because you're not ready to leave the relationship, but you know that they're gonna say, like, something negative about it, so you're kind of in that stuck place of, like, then it just becomes something you need to work through, but, like, I don't know. Like, I think if your friends are really your friends, like, you should be able to tell them those things. And you shouldn't be embarrassed for a man cheating on you because, like, that's not embarrassing on your part. That's embarrassing, like, for them.
Yeah,
you know?
And it's weird for the friend, too, because it's, like, you're in this space where you're, like, should I just let my friend, like, grow and, like, learn on her own? Because, like, at the end of the day, like, we can't control, like, I honestly, after having, like, multiple friends go through, like, abusive, toxic relationships, like, you could say leave him, but honestly, I don't do that anymore because what's that gonna, that doesn't do anything. Like, honestly, it doesn't do anything. So it's like you're in this space of, like, do I let them grow? But also at the same time, like we really value friends that can, like, be real and, like, maybe even say something, like, that might hurt a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, but because we want you to, like, grow and stuff. So it's, like, knowing when to kind of just, like, chill, because we talk about it all the time. Like, when bitches are just, like, trying to control and, like, you know, analyze your relationship, which, like, yes, I talk to you about my relationship, but at the end of the day, you're not in it. You're not here. You can't possibly know every single thing and every factor. Like, unfortunately, sometimes we just give our friends the negative. Yeah. But there's so much positive that maybe they don't hear because you don't want to be, like, braggy, like, oh, like, my man did this. And some people don't have a problem doing that. But, like, to me, I feel like that's just kind of, like, a lot.
Yeah, because I feel like as girls, like, we vent about stuff, like, a lot. And so, like, it's more likely sometimes for us to vent about the bad shit that our partner does. And I actually had a situation with this recently with someone that I was fucking with where, like, I kind of got into, like, a little bit of an argument with my friend because she said something, like, negative about him at a time we were, like, positive, like, we were good. And I knew it was on me to not be mad at her because she was just going off of, like, the last conversation that, like, we had about him. And, like, she just had my best interest, but she doesn't see all the good stuff since then. And I hadn't told her. And, like, I also hadn't set a boundary of, like, oh, like, I'm venting about him, but, like, please don't, like, disrespect, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was kind of like a weird thing, and she felt so bad about it. Like, she was like, I wasn't hating, like, I really, like, didn't mean to do that, I just care about you. And I knew that she did. So it was, like, good. Like, we talked about it, we cleared it up. But I think that's common. And, like, I've had friends tell me before that they don't talk about their man at all to their friends because they're worried about those situations. So, like, it's iffy. But yeah, and then we kind of touched on it, but I just wanted to talk a little bit about, is cheating embarrassing? And I feel like it really shouldn't be. We've covered this in other episodes. Like, it shouldn't reflect on, like, who you are as a woman. It has everything to do with that person and their shit, not you.
And it's like, even if you someone cheats on you, you get back with them. Like, I honestly, you guys, like, all people are all like, oh, lover girls, all this shit. Like, it's like, love does, like, overpower sometimes, and, like, that's just on being a human. Like, that's what we're here to, like, figure out, like, how to balance, like, our hearts and our minds. Like, everyone's on their own fucking journey. Like, I just feel like there's so much other shit weighing on us, like, and I'm not like a powerful wizard. Like, in high school, I definitely did used to judge people, like, why is she with him? He obviously does, like, and maybe even today catch myself, but it's always in my head. I never would go up to someone and really just tell them how it, you know what I mean? So but I really just think it needs to stop. But we do acknowledge that, like, we're not, like, most people do feel like it's embarrassing. So it's like, even if we were to be cheated on, we can't control that.
Okay, so now we're going to get into men publicly embarrassing their girlfriends in podcasts, online, in the media, etc. And this has been a big thing lately. Some examples are Halle Bailey. I know she just had her baby. She's, like, back with her man, but he was tweeting crazy shit. People were coming for her and him, whatever. There was Simone Biles, whose man went on a podcast and said he's the prize and he didn't know who she was. Just for his tweets to be resurfaced, talking about the 2012 Olympics. And he was literally, like, live tweeting her fucking routine, and then also said that she would be cute if her smile was fixed, which is, like, fuck you, bro. So, like, you're lying about, like, not knowing who she was. Like, you obviously knew who she was, but, like, whatever. Like, embarrassing, right?
Like,
yeah, and she went on Call Her Daddy, and she, like, talked about the whole thing, like, you know, cleared the air. Like, it was a little hard for people to be coming at her for what her boyfriend said. But another example is Keke Palmer, which we did talk about in one of our episodes before. You want to talk about that? Yeah.
Yeah, basically Keke Palmer, like, wore a fucking certain dress in a video or to an event, and her man was like, you shouldn't dress like that, no mom should dress like that, just, like, basically calling her a hoe and, like, her outfit. And obviously, like, people fucking go crazy over Keke Palmer, and we're like, you can't talk to her like that, like, you should leave him, blah blah blah. And, like, Keke Palmer just posted a video, like, I don't remember, like, what it was, but it was truly so iconic and funny, and it was just, like, her dancing, like, basically being like, I don't give a fuck about the whole situation, like, this is online, my real life is good, or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
And so that was crazy, but it's also, it just shows, like, how, you know, men's actions, like, affect the woman almost more, because it's, like, this underhidden thought of, like, oh, well, men always say crazy shit, so it's like, we should just go protect the woman and be like, you should leave him. But in turn, what you're doing is, like, really just, you know, shaming her and making her look more stupid. You know, it's like, why are you blowing it out of proportion?
Yeah, so we're going to get into an example of this with Jalen and Monet. And both of us had never heard of Jalen and Monet before, but I watched a YouTube video essay by Tiny Say. It's called Toxic Dump Him Culture. And she briefly mentioned Jalen and Monet in the beginning. And so I deep dived it, of course, obviously, guys. But to sum it up, Jalen is from Love Island. He is an influencer now. Monet is also an influencer. And they started dating, I guess, around 2023. And they built a massive platform, her with her charm, candid and chatty self, and him for his wholesome day in the life type of content. So they're kind of one of those like ship couples, like people think they're really cute. They're both hot as fuck. But essentially he went on this podcast called Show Some Love Podcast, and he said some things that the internet did not love. So this clip went pretty viral. It doesn't have that many likes though. It's weird, but a lot of people stitched it. They made whole YouTube think pieces about it. People were commenting on his stuff with hate, her stuff with hate. We're going to watch the clip.
You know, from what the sprinkle movement is, it's like men are expected to pay all the bills. Men are expected to pay for all the dates. Men are expected to pay for your nails, hair, all these things. In today's economy, it's like, why is that the norm? Why is that the expectation? What does a provider mean? In my opinion, a provider doesn't mean someone who's going to pay financially for everything. That's not a provider to me. I think, you know, when someone becomes the mother of your kids or someone's raising, then there's a partnership that, you know, is communicated and talked about and understood. But it's like this sprinkle is all about the dating stage too. It's like that doesn't make sense to me. So this soft man era is a satirical play on this sprinkle, but a lot of men are making content around like, oh, I'm getting a haircut and you didn't pay for it. I'm not seeing you later. Like, I'm not seeing you. Drizzle. I'm not seeing, like, oh, you're not taking me on a date this weekend. That's crazy. I'm not seeing you. Drizzle. Because the rhetoric online is, oh, he says he likes my nails, but he's not paying for them. Boy, bye, like kind of thing. It's like, well, okay, then let's flip that.
Okay, so what are your initial thoughts?
I mean, I just feel like the part at the beginning where he's like, you know, this economy, it's like, okay, bro, like get a job, get 2 jobs. Like we all need to like make a lot of money. Like, I don't know. But the part about the end where it's like, you know, he got a haircut and you're like, if your man gets a haircut and then you're not the first to see him after, like whatever, like that's a little bit too much. And like, we've talked about this on this podcast where it's like, we're not really, or I'll speak for myself, like I'm not really the type of person that wants my partner, whether it's a man or a woman or whoever, to pay for everything. Like that's not like what I really go for, because I just feel like it's, you know, the goal is like equality and equity, right? So I just feel like that's not really the answer. But I do get thrown when men come out the cut and are like, we shouldn't be paying. Because I'm like, okay, but you have to acknowledge a little bit why. And it's because like, okay, if we're going to live in this sexist, misogynistic world, let me hold those values true, right? So, and men are the breadwinners, right? So you should pay. But then we've deep dived it through like, you know, feminist thought work, intersectional feminist thought work, and have been like, well, you know, the whole reparations thing, my man should pay for anything because blah, 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 was treated bad in the past. Like, nah, it's a little backwards, especially if you're a white woman, right? So it's a little bit hard to really think about all of that. But at the end of the day, there's something about this clip where it's just like, I don't like this man. Like, I just like his energy, and when he was talking through all of this, like, doesn't sit right with me. But I don't entirely disagree with everything that he said, but I just feel like as a man, like you do have to be careful, like at least acknowledge like why women are feeling this way and what have led women to feel this way. Because it didn't just happen overnight. Like this is a new men are trash, they should pay for anything, everything era. Like it hasn't always been this intense. And so you need to acknowledge why.
Yeah.
That's my initial thoughts, bitch.
Yeah, 100%. That's what I thought too, because it's like he's talking directly about the sprinkle movement, and he's talking about the drizzle, which was started by some creator as like satire, you know, making fun of how ridiculous the sprinkle stuff is, which both of us will say, like the sprinkle stuff can be like a little ridiculous sometimes. And Shira Seven herself says she's giving financial advice and not relationship advice. So that's like important to pay attention. But again, it's like media literacy. Like he should probably know better. But at the same time, like he's in a relationship right now that's healthy, right?
Right.
So I watched the whole interview of this because I was like, I don't know. Like, I just feel like I need to know, like, the full picture before we can really completely talk about this. And again, it's on a podcast called Show Some Love. or it's don't trip, but like show some love. I don't know, but it's all about like showing love and whatever. The majority of the interview, he was like extremely healthy. Like I'm talking like he was talking about buying your girl flowers, like being there for her, this, that, the other thing, like equal partnership, like whatever. And like clips that would go viral for being like some goals type shit. And then he was also talking about like when he got to this soft man era shit, he was talking about the drizzle content and how it's satire and how it's kind of funny, like whatever. And then he went more into like what he takes from the soft man era stuff, which is more just being like less hard in his masculinity and like learning more about emotional intelligence and like how to balance his feminine qualities with his partner and be like more of an in-tune man and not just be like hard all the time. So it was literally like directly opposing like gender roles and the things that we talk about all the time when it's like toxic masculinity. So it's a little bit disappointing that like the clip from this that went viral is the one that paints him in like not the best light. And there were some comments under this YouTube video too that kind of like echoed what I thought about it. Someone said the fact that there's only 13K views on this, but millions and millions of hateful comments towards Jalen shows how many people didn't watch the full thing. Social media is a wild place. Any women judging the relationship is clearly not in a healthy one, with 62 likes. Someone else said, it's insane that a clip from this is going viral a month later, and exactly what he spoke about in the beginning is happening. He was talking about people judging relationships like before they know them. People see one clip and run with it so bad just because they need to dissect a seemingly happy couple. And that has 141 likes. So, you know, people were seeing this. They were, if they actually watched the video, they were like, hold up, wait, like this is just one clip from it that went viral.
Right.
And then Monet posted a TikTok. She's going to stand beside her man, okay? And she actually posted a clip of them out to eat, like at a picnic table, whatever, to the Sabrina Carpenter song. We're going to mute it because copyright. We'll play it right now. And in the comments of this video, people were not fucking with it. Someone said, Monet, honey, I love you, so I'm going to hold your hand when I say this, with 43.8K likes. Someone said, forget the mess. Monet literally looks unreal. 68.K likes. Some love. Someone said, who paid the bill? With like the like sweat emoji. Jalen said, oh, you ate that. Someone said, a little too late for that, I fear, meaning like embarrass you like he already did. Someone said, Jalen's just happy to be taken care of. These all have so many likes, okay? And then someone said he already did, like embarrass you, and he didn't. Someone said he didn't embarrass Monet. People are just incapable of letting people have opinions. So it's like
She ate with that.
Yeah, she ate with that. Like it's a little bit, you know, crazy. I think it's kind of cool that Monet is like playing into it, and she's kind of like, guys, like this is like a joke. Like at this point, like they seem like a solid couple. Yeah, like they seem like good. But it just goes to show how many people don't have like real media literacy and aren't gonna like deep dive and watch like the whole video and get the whole picture before they just jump on like one clip.
Because they don't want to. Like, no one today wants to sit down and watch, like, a 60-minute fucking long-ass interview. Like, it just happens less and less and less. And, like, it's like we see this happen so much with, like, people only seeing, like, short-form content or, like, a tweet and, like, thinking one way because they didn't watch, like, the full piece of media. Like, it happens all the time. And it's definitely one of the downsides that social media, like, gives us, you know, quick access to things and not the full story. And it's like, obviously, you know, people go viral because of commenters and because of like how people feel. And that's like one of the scariest things about like a bad piece of content going viral, because then people are going to think, you know, one way about it when maybe it's not really that way. But again, it's just like people coming after the woman in these situations. And the one that's like, Monet, honey, I love you, so I'm going to hold your hand when I say this. Like, I don't know.
Like you don't even know her.
That gives me very, like, weird energy in that comment. Like, what do you mean by that? Like, what do you mean by that? She doesn't need you to hold her hand. Trust me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just that one, like all of them, but that one I'm just like, girl, what? And that one got like 50,000 fucking likes.
And it's like, because these are parasocial relationships. Like, you don't know this couple. You don't know what they're like in real life. You just see their content. And it's like, in one sense, we didn't know who the fuck they were until this went viral. This is probably making them bigger. You know, like, all publicity is good publicity, whatever. But at the same time, it's like, you know, like, you're meddling in their relationship and like causing all this bullshit and making her feel bad. Like, when you didn't even do the work to watch the whole fucking video. Like, and now you're going to tell her, like, you know better than her. Like, it's a little crazy.
And it's, like, embarrassing because it's honestly, it's like you don't know the relationship. Like, she could have already had a conversation with him about this behind closed doors. Like, he could have came home after the podcast filming, realized maybe what he said was a little fucked up, and already told her.
Yeah.
And it just makes y'all look even more dumb. I'm sorry.
And again, he's also like entitled to his own opinions. Like, we've all had a man say unsavory shit that we don't really fuck with, but like, he has his own career, he has his own shit, like whatever, he's going on this podcast. Like, again, it's a little bit like about their like relationship and dynamics between like couples, but like, you can't go to her and like make a big deal out of everything that he fucking does. Like, there's a point, like, if he does some racist shit, like whatever, I mean, they're black, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if it crosses a line, like, I get it a little bit more.
Or anything, like, honestly, like, when it comes to be like super that hateful type shit, that's different. But honestly, it's still not embarrassing. Like, you have no control over this human. Like, maybe if someone's outwardly says something really hateful and then you're just like, say nothing about it and stand by it, like, that's a little bit different, because then it's like, okay, well, that is on your character. But like, just for something like that to happen, it's like, we don't have control over our fucking man 1,000% of the time. Like, they're not fucking like on a leash, like we're walking them around. Oh, you better behave.
Right.
Like, we are not with like that. She has no control over what comes out of that grown ass man's mouth, whether they're in a healthy relationship or not. Like, people say shit all the time, but I think, to bring it back to that comment at the end, like, incapable of having opinions, and like the sprinkle shit, like, it does get deep because it is about like structures of oppression in this country at the end of the day. But it's like, he has opinion about sprinkle, okay, like, fine, everyone does. We have a fucking opinion that maybe piss some people off too. Like, I don't know.
And it's also like, I'm assuming that Monet, like, because of like her influencer beauty stuff, has a predominantly female audience. And so this is what we're gonna get into next that inspired this whole YouTube video. But talking about how like this type of situation and your man saying unsavory things can alienate you from your female audience. So we're gonna watch that TikTok.
To be an it girl dating a man means you are ready to risk humiliation, public humiliation. Sabrina's new song, Please, 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 is capturing this very kind of new fear that women are having. It's not new, but it is new. There's always been the fear that your man is going to embarrass you, like, amongst your friends. But now there's kind of this newer fear that your man is going to alienate you from your female audience by being embarrassing, and then you then have to figure out what to do. We've been seeing this a lot recently, where we see an it girl, she's independent, huge female fan base, she preaches about self-respect and independence and all of these things. Then we see her man going on a podcast, embarrassing her, humiliating her, by either seeming ungrateful, by having controversial views on relationships that kind of degrade the woman, etc. And all this is happening while women are putting other women on a pedestal and being very ready to take that away if they see that that woman maybe isn't respecting herself as much as they wanted her to, if that makes sense. And now the way that a man treats you has become a social status among women. We're seeing this with sprinkle culture. We're seeing this with like princess treatment, where women have become to like deem a hierarchy based off of the treatment from men, which, in my opinion, that's a whole other conversation. And even her line about like a heartbreak is one thing, but my ego is another, is highlighting that like the biggest fear now is actually not getting like fucked over by a man because you're worried about your feelings and your future. You're now more worried about how women are going to see you and losing your social status among women and feeling embarrassed and less than now because of something that the man has done, you know? And I think the problem with this is that it's a little bit unattainable. As long as a man speaks, we will find something wrong with it.
Not women actually becoming the enemy, though, because honestly, it's like when we've thought about it in the past and like even in 2000s, it's like heartbreak and like being wronged by a man, like that really was. But I don't know if like now that, again, we have so much access to each other's lives and can see everything, and more people than ever have platforms and audiences for people to make judgment on them. So it's like, is the biggest fear for women in 2024, like what another woman or what another woman or group of women will say about them, specifically in the context of their relationship. And like, that's really scary, because this whole thing that like, you know, all these branches of new waves of feminism, it's like we're supposed to lift each other up and like be understanding and empathetic towards women and their situations, but that's not it.
Yeah, and it's like, and it's also like a very weird capitalistic, not feminist, still centering men way to look at things, because it's like, I think part of the thing for these famous people and like Sabrina Carpenter and Monet and like whatever is like, all of these women that are commenting are their audience, which is like who's like subscribing, like paying, like all of those things. So like it's not just like fear of embarrassment, but it's also fear of losing a following that's going to like pay stuff for you. You know what I'm saying? Because like they look at Monet as like this it girl, this unachievable standard or whatever, but suddenly she's human and has a relationship with a man just like most of us do, and she's not an unattainable it girl anymore, and now you can't sell to your audience as much. So like that, and it's still centering men, which I think women right now, there's a big movement of decenter men, like hold other girls accountable, girls, all of this stuff. But like, we're not doing it. Like, we lost the plot in this situation because we're still tearing down other women over, like, we're losing sight of intimate relationships and focusing on other bullshit. But
Wait.
Yeah.
Do you think, like, because low-key, like, we always talk about, like, women are on top, like, women are dominating music, women are blah, 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 blah. Do you think now it's like, if women are really on top, we're going to care more about what other women think of us?
Yeah.
Because men are being lowered. It's like, well, who really gives a fuck?
And that's what I think it is right now. I honestly think, like, we live in a patriarchy still 100%. But, like, there has been such a moment in the past, like, 2 years, and this is kind of, like, one of the discussion topics I wanted us to get into, is, like, the idea of this, like, female audience, because I think more than ever right now, it's, like, girl culture, where it's, like, we have the Barbie movie, we have Charlie XCX, we have Sabrina Carpenter, like, we have Beyonce, we have, like, so many women just,
we
like...
have Beyonce.
Like, we have so many women just, like, killing it and all this stuff. Yeah. A girl dinner. We have, like, I'm just a girl. Like, all this girl shit where it's, like, we push men out and we don't really give a fuck as much. And it's almost embarrassing to, like, have a boyfriend, to, like, love a man if he's not providing for you or helping you get up and look better to other girls.
This is crazy. I don't want to live here, bro.
Like... Isn't it crazy? But that's why I want to pull it back, because I feel like it's a little bit of a capitalist thing. So,
yeah.
When she talks about the it girl, that's another thing in this whole dumb girl shit that's trending right now. She talks about, you know, as an it girl, public humiliation is the biggest thing you should be afraid of. So this made me think of the Charlie XCX music video. 360, okay? I wish we could play it, but copyright we can't. But if you guys remember, go watch it. We'll put some little screenshots of them on the screen. Mm-hmm. It's satire, right? Like, they're at the table, all the it girls. You've got Julia Fox, you have Rachel Sennott, you have that Instagram baddie.
Said is just like me.
Yeah, I think if we had a movie, Rachel Sennott would play you, but...
Yeah.
But they're talking about this je ne sais quoi that the it girl has. Like, you have to have this undescribable thing because no one really knows what it is. Like, when we think about it girls, it's like in the early 2000s, you had Paris Hilton. Like, I think Beyonce. Like, you had Kim Kardashian. Like, now, what's her face?
Lindsay Lohan.
Yeah. Like, Maddie from Euphoria was like an it girl. You have Sydney Sweeney. But then you have, like, what's her face from, what's the other girl that was in the Weekend show? I feel like she gives it girl. You have Charlie XCX. You have Julia Fox. You have, which also I was thinking about this. I'm like, Julia Fox dated Kanye. Like, but now Julia Fox is very, like, celibate, doesn't want to date men. Like, she's, like, in her, like, boy sober era, which is, like, interesting as well. But, like, Charlie XCX's whole album is kind of this idea of being, like, an it girl, but still being painfully insecure. And your beef with other women. Like, it's all about, like, her beef with Lorde, like, Taylor Swift, like, all of those things. And how women, like, fight against each other. But I found this one article about what is it about an it girl from Vogue. And it says, the truth is that its are more than the sum of their parts. They are pure zeitgeist, charisma incarnate, hard to describe linguistically, the same way the word love doesn't come close to at all the sublime, silly, big, and little feelings associated with it. Roughly speaking, when it comes to it girls, men want her, women want her, gays want to meme her. And I would go as far as to say, I don't think it matters that men want her anymore. I really don't. Oh! I think it's almost better if men don't want her. Because when you think about someone like Julia Fox, who's talking all this shit, like, she's like, no, like, we don't need men, da-da-da-da. I feel like it's more of an it girl thing now to be like, I don't need men at all.
Right, because low-key, if all the men want her, like, I feel like bitches are still like, like, fuck that.
It's more about how women look at you.
Right, which is really crazy. But I think it's so crazy that this article is, like, equating it girl with love in terms of, like, it's hard to describe with words. But, like, it's literally so true. And I think, honestly, just, like, whoever the creative director was of that fucking 360 music video, like, it's just, like, such a moment, you know, and them just, like, telling the waiter, like, well, you got to do this, and she's like, oh, okay, and they're like, oh, I like her, like, I like
exactly,
her.
And it's like, also, what? Like, it's a very capitalist thing, this it girl idea, because it's used, like, when I was searching it girl, guys, and trying to find, like, fucking academic articles or think pieces to support
about
this.
The it girl.
Everything was about a new makeup product, a new bag, a new clothing item. Oh, like, this girl has this, you need to get this. So, like, so much of the it girl is, like, broken down into capitalism. And I think what this TikTok was talking about as well, like, it's not just alienating you from your, like, close friends, because I know there's been times, like, my man has, like, embarrassed me, and I talked to Autumn about it, and, like, whatever. Like, I know we're going to be friends at the end of the day, but when you're a public person and you have a public platform that you're profiting off of, when those girls turn against you,
it's a little different.
It's a little bit different. But yeah, the question that I kind of wanted to discuss, which we kind of already did, is just, like, the idea of women caring more about other women's opinions, and the female audience is on the rise. But the YouTube video that I had mentioned in the beginning when we were talking about Jalen and Monet talked more, too, about how, like, men bond with each other over just, like, shared activities, like going to the bar, playing a sport, like, whatever. But women bond over, like, shared vulnerability, kind of. Yeah. So, like, when we share, like, our, like, traumas or, like, the shit that we've been through, like, you got to prove yourself a little bit more.
Why is that my immediate go-to when I'm trying to make a friend? Low-key, it, like, might make me come off a little bit crazy, but it is so true. Like, it doesn't always have to be something so tragic. Like, literally, when you were here in LA, I bonded with that bitch. You were like, yeah, like, food culture, diet culture, like, that shit's crazy. Like, that shit'll ruin your life. And it was, like, literally, like, so it is, yes. But I don't know. Like, I think the whole thing about just, like, female audience on the rise, like, it's like, this is what we always talk about. It's like with feminism, intersectional feminism, like, we don't want to be better than men. Like, we want to live in a place that's like everything's coexisting, you know, beautifully and in rhythm with the nature, like all of that. Like, I don't necessarily want women to be like the fucking target to beat, because, like, I do feel like we've all, like, you have this sort of, like, bond of, like, we need to work harder. Like, you get it. Like, you get it or whatever. But I also think, like, the capitalism piece is huge, because even when you think about, like, men are trash, they better, like, men aren't worth anything unless they pay. That's capitalism. Yeah. And it's also, like, a bunch of rap songs. It's like men complain about that. But at the end of the day, like, the A-list men, they're want rich women. That. Yeah. They don't want a woman that's broke. Like, they want a woman that, like, has expensive taste, like, gets her hair done every single fucking day, and it's, like, picture perfect. So it's, like, as much as they hate on it, it's, like, they feel it and they want it too. And, like, that's the capitalism piece that, like, sneaks up in there. So all that to say, it's, like, I don't want women to switch and be like, oh, we're on top and like treat men like shit, just like they did to us.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like they kind of deserve it. And also it's hard to like, we're not perfect. So,
and like women are in turn like, because there's that big conversation about decentering men, right? And so it's like on one side, women are like, oh, we're holding each other accountable. Like, I get it. Like, I've been cheated on too. I've been through this. Like, a man has embarrassed me. Like, do better. Like, da-da-da-da. But, like, in doing all of that, like, you're not really, like, supporting her on her journey. You're more just, like, shaming her for the same shit the patriarchy shames her for. So it's not really, like, uplifting women at all.
Yeah. And it's like our generation needs to realize like this shit has been going on forever. Like you really like, you know, can't get so mad at the individual people anymore. And I feel like that's been my like biggest thing in like unlearning like my hatred for men is like it's the system, it's not the person. And that's what's like helped us a lot. And like that's aside from like abusers, but just like everyday misogyny shit, like it is, you want to be more mad at the system than the actual man. And, like, that's been the biggest thing to help me, like, not hate them.
Yeah, exactly. And we should, like, be holding more space for women to be vulnerable and, like, talk about things. Like, and us all coming at Monet or something like that, like, you're just silencing her more. And, like, I think their relationship, from what it seems, is a lot healthier than other relationships. And, like, maybe she has something to say about that. Like, I don't know. But we asked you guys if you've ever avoided telling other girls certain things about your man for fear that they'll tell you to dump him. Because like we said, like it's just pushing women like further apart from other women. And 78% of you guys said yes. Only 22% said no. A couple people replied to this and were like, LMAO, like definitely. So it's real.
I've even, like, I 1000% have, like, there's definitely shit about my ex-boyfriend that I didn't even tell you because I'm like, not because I think you're going to judge me it's just, like, it's just not fun to, like, say shit like that when you're already feeling so much internally and, like, you could have the bestest friend in the whole fucking world, but you still don't want to just, like, because it also makes it more real when you say it out loud, like, I'd rather just shove it down when you're like really in love with someone that's like definitely toxic, you know?
Yeah, and there is a balance, like I said before. Like, I think there is certain things that you should keep between you and your partner that are like interpersonal relationship issues that like you guys can work out together. Like, you don't need to tell your friends every single fight you and your boyfriend like get into because like they're not involved in your relationship. But at the same time, like when we bring up like abuse or like cheating or like things like that, like it's so sad that some women feel like they can't share that with their friends or other girls for fear of like it like affecting how people look at them, and especially like famous people and stuff that have these big platforms. Like it's just like it's sad. Fucked up. Like it's the opposite of what I think we're trying to do.
And what a girl's girl fucking is. Like girl's girl, if like honestly it's a red flag at this point if someone says that to me, because I'm like, are you an actual person that supports other women, or are you the girl's girl fucking symbol we have? Because that symbol that we have is not a girl's girl.
No.
You're just policing women hard.
Yes, and listen to our girls girl episode.
I know, I love that episode. But we asked you guys another question too. We asked you, do you judge other women by the way her man treats her? And 43% said sometimes, 36% said yes, and 21% said no. And thank you guys so much for being real, honestly, because I feel like it's like, no, the fuck I don't. But it's like, we do. We do. And part of it is like internalized and like we have to work to unlearn that. And then the other part is just like, we're humans. Like it's, you know, everyone around you's doing it. It's the culture. It's hard not to have that initial thought, but what we all need to work on is like the second thought. And I literally have sticky notes all over my apartment that say like, what is the second thought? Because usually my first thought I have about anything is trash. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like in my own journey to like unlearn shit, like I'm always like, what's the second thought?
That's a good one. Yeah.
It's like really, like honestly, the first thought is usually always like unspeakable.
Yeah, because like, it's just that. Like your impulse, like what society has, like you have to do that
and
thought
to feel
to
better. Like I'm out here like not talking to anyone, like been celibate for so long, like damn near like afraid to go on a date because of like social anxiety. And so it's like, who am I? I can't even be in a relationship. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's what we all need to like understand. I honestly don't remember what I voted. I think I voted sometimes, but maybe I voted no, because now like I genuinely don't. Like I really am like, it's honestly like, it's after like watching you go through your abusive relationship, like it numbed me. Like I literally judge no one, because I'm like, damn, like on the outside, how people might have seen you and your relationship and thought a certain way. It's like, they had no idea what was actually going down. And I didn't even know everything, but I knew a lot. So it's just like, I would just never judge anyone. But I think the only thing is like, and again, I've low-key done this, but if you're dating someone that's like an open Trump supporter or something, like, I am going to judge you for that. And like, I've literally like also done it. So it's like, that's like ultimate hypocrisy. Yeah. But because we're being real, like I would.
See, I honestly think that because having gone through the abusive relationship where like I put up with a lot of treatment that I should have, like whatever, it's almost made me judge other women more, like for staying with, like in a weird way. But I think it's me projecting and like my own stuff where it's like, oh, like you see yourself in another woman.
I think you still have those feelings of like, oh, I should have, I could have.
Yes, like hatred towards yourself where you're like, I wasn't good enough of a woman to stand the fuck up, like whatever, to get out of
I see it like this bitch is the strongest fucking ready to fucking fight bitch I've ever met. So if you know what I'm like, there's no way, like she did everything she could, but that's how I see it from the other perspective. But I get it.
Yeah. So our audience replied to this with some stories. Someone said sometimes it's a reflection of how you feel about yourself. Someone else said depends, because if he's cheating or just treating her bad, like girl. But if he's being mentally or physically abusive, that's a different story. And I don't blame women for staying with men like that. And the last one.
Okay, but even the like girl ... that is like, I know this person means well, and I like honestly agree. Like, I guess, maybe, but like the like girl ... is such a thing in our culture right now. Like girl, like what do you mean?
I feel like I like was low-key had this energy towards someone that I know that was like fucking with this man that like didn't really like her that much. Like it's kind of like obvious, like whatever, but like she was still stuck on him, as we all have been. Like I had a whole crush for like multiple years over someone that like was in a relationship and didn't want me, like whatever. Like it is embarrassing, but like I'm gonna look at another girl and be like, girl, like stand up, like go date someone who likes you, like whatever. Like, you know, we all fucking do it. Hypocrisy as fuck. But the last one said, I do judge women on how they let a man treat them, because it's a reflection on how they feel about themselves. And it honestly sets a precedent for other men of the same man to treat women.
Ooh, okay, this one is very duality. The first part, I do judge women on how they let men treat them, because it's a reflection on how they feel about themselves. So if a woman feels sad about themselves and so they let their man, you're judging them? Okay.
Yeah.
And then the second part, it honestly sets a precedent for other men of the same man to treat women. That's low-key facts.
Yeah, but I think that's bad.
No, but wait, let me finish. I still don't judge the woman, but in turn, that is kind of what happens.
Okay. I feel like I get you if it's like, I'm in a relationship with a man, and you know how women are like, oh, he needs to be a dickhead to all other women. I don't fuck with that. That I can understand this, because like you're treating other women badly, and I'm like accepting that behavior. But if a man treated me bad and then goes on to treat another woman bad, like I'm not his mom. He's not my responsibility. I don't need to train him. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what? Like, what do you mean I have to set the precedent?
You don't have to set the precedent, but I'm like, I think it's like, if a man, and we're not talking about abuse right now or anything toxic that can put you in therapy, like this is just normal everyday men bad shit, like cheating or whatever that you guys get so hurt about. Maybe it's because I've never really been cheated on before, but I'm like, get over it. Like, I don't know. I'm sorry. Okay. So your man treating you bad, and you don't say like, that's not cool, I'm leaving you.
Yeah.
Like, he just thinks, like, oh, like, it wasn't you, we weren't the one, like, whatever. Because I have a direct example, like, with my father.
Okay.
My whole life growing up, I've been afraid to be in a bathing suit around this man because he constantly just comments on women's bodies, whether it's you look great, you look whatever. Like, it's always something, and I don't want him to see that. Never said anything to him. Just never told him, like, after my 12 to 18 years, never said anything. Now, my sisters are at the age where they're 18, 20. He does the same exact shit to them. So I feel responsible. Like, if I had just said something and, like, really got through to him, but instead it was on my 20-year-old sister to say something to get him to finally stop because she's like, I don't get why you're so afraid of him, blah, 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 blah. So that's what I'm thinking, but it's not on you. Like, if a man treats you bad, like, I'm thinking for myself, like, it's not on us to be like, you treated me bad. Like, that motherfucker should know.
Right.
But I do get, like, how the effect on society, like, it's no one's fault, but that is the culture. It's like, we just ghost, we move on. We don't say, like, sit them down, like, let's look at this piece of literature together on why you're treating me bad. And sometimes they don't
want to. And I feel like, and with most situations, I feel like women do try behind closed doors to, like, set their man or, like, whatever man straight on certain shit. But I'm like, again, like, how much can you hold a woman accountable for his actions other than his fucking mother? Like, I'm like, it's his mother. Or, like, then, okay, hold her accountable if her son is acting crazy because, like, or the father. Honestly, both.
And maybe the mom tried so
and maybe
fucking
she tried,
hard.
But people are their own individual people. And, like, I do, that's not to say that, like, you should definitely hold your man and any man accountable in situations, like, for sure. But, like, it's just a little bit iffy because, like, then it becomes, like, women's job to police other men. And, like, then we're policing women for policing men. And then we're still centering men. And it just gets to this whole mess. Okay, so now we're going to get into some more of that toxic dump him culture based off of that YouTube video from Tiny Say. And also this bars on the floor culture that she talks about in her video as well. So she says this basically began on TikTok in 2021, and someone would post, like, a cute little thing that their man did, and people would just start saying, oh, the bar is on the floor. Like, that's, like, nothing. And then she was also just talking a little bit about the way that women are socialized and how, like, we as women are socialized from a very young age to, like, take care of the people around us, to look out for the little things, to try to make them happy, like, all of that stuff, whereas men aren't as much, so that explains part of that. But we have this hot take from Reddit where this is our unpopular opinions, and someone is talking about this bars on the floor culture, and they said, saying, quote, the bars on the floor when women share sweet little things their boyfriends did for them does not make you look cool. Lately, I've seen a lot of TikToks of women just sharing something their boyfriends did that put a smile on their face. Nothing huge, just sweet little everyday things, and the comment sections are filled with other women criticizing them for feeling happy about it. As a woman myself, yes, we don't need to appreciate decent behavior from men and act like they deserve to be worshipped, but you don't need to act like insignificant, sweet little things cannot be appreciated. If what her guy did put one extra smile on her face that day and it made her happy, who do you think you are to make her feel shitty about it online? And I feel like this is real, like, same. Like, it is the little things, guys. Like, I know it's a fucking corny-ass statement.
Bro, like, I would way rather, like, my partner, like, give me, like, a little note to open than to buy me, like, the biggest fucking Lamborghini on sale. Like, I truly feel that way because I think, like, love is such a dirty word right now, and it's, like, we're filling it with so much capitalism. Like, they should pay for this. Like, what's he doing for you? Like, what room is he getting you into? Like, blah, blah, blah. It's like, that's not what love's about, though. Like, are we networking? Are we shopping? Like,
right.
What are we doing?
This is supposed to be about love, and, like, those are, like, the cute little things. Like, I get it when people are like, oh, the bar's on the floor. Like, I recently saw, like, this influencer couple that's, like, a family blogger, whatever, and the man was, like, talking about how, oh, like, his wife usually takes care of the kids because they're a traditional household, but, like, this day he took care of the kids. But they're not a traditional household because they both work the same job as influencers making money from their family vlogging content. So, like, I get it in situations like that. Still, I'm not really for just like publicly ridiculing people about their shit. Like, you know, it's a little bit iffy, but if they put it online, I don't know. Anyway, we're going to continue on this route. And there's this article from Novera Media. It's called Dump Him Feminism Isn't Revolutionary, It's Callous. It's not feminism to absolve yourself of responsibilities towards others. It's individualist by Ash Sarkar. So you want to read this?
Yeah, I will. You want to read this? You're so cute. I love you. But what's callous mean? Just for people that don't know, like, I know what it means. But, like, for other people that don't know, like, what is callous?
See, that you just sounded like Rachel Sanaa in that. Like,
really?
You are one and the same. I know what it means. Isn't it just, like, unsavory, bad, like, bitchy, like, a little bit?
Yeah, like, for sure. I
like,
know.
honestly, like, I feel like I know the term, but, like, a definition, let's look it up. Hold on.
Yeah, like, you're not, like, equipped with that quick
Yeah, no. Showing or having an insensitive and cruel disregard for others. So just kind of, like,
okay, so it's
offstandish.
mean, bro.
Yeah, it's a little mean.
So the article says, emotional labor came to describe the caring work disproportionately undertaken by women and femmes to look after, manage, and nurture people within their social orbit. This care work can include obvious, discrete tasks like hair washing and birthday remembering, or the much more insidious business of finding yourself trapped within a particular social role. For some reason, it's always you who's responsible for making sure nobody gets upset at Christmas or your partner doesn't feel rushed into commitment or monitoring the shared bathroom's toothpaste levels. In mapping the language of emotional labor onto the terrain of relationships and the home, feminists found a way to articulate the invisible burden of interpersonal work thrust upon women. The recognition that the weight of emotional baggage is unevenly distributed has, amongst some contemporary feminists, morphed into the idea that any sense of obligation is itself the enemy. There's been a sense of mission creep from women don't owe you sex, domestic labor, or prettiness to the idea that women don't owe anybody anything. Imagine the person you'd become, implores Gibbon, if you stop trying to fix others and put that energy into yourself. The elasticity of emotional labor as a concept means you can apply it to anything you feel is emotionally taxing, boring, or personally disruptive. Want to learn something? Google it. I'm not your teacher. Need care, love, or support? Better help it. I'm not your therapist. What do we owe to others? Nothing, it seems, other than what's identified as personally nourishing for ourselves. To issue the rebuke of not my problem is a revolutionary act of boundary setting. Self-care is warfare and all that. Damn, bro. So, okay, let me know if I'm getting this wrong, but I've always been one that's like, be fucking selfish. Like, you don't need to always comfort that person that's going through with their problems. You don't need to talk your friend down from an anxiety attack every fucking mother the fuck day. Like, you don't. And then it's like you meet like someone that's like a Christian, for example, and they're like, yeah, but like we live like for other people and to give love and back and blah, blah, blah. And then when I say something like, no, I just want to live for myself, like all we have is ourselves at the end of the day, then it's like a Christian, for example, would be like, but that's not what life is about. But I think it is, and I don't think it's something to be sad about that.
Yeah,
I know that's very
iffy. It's a little iffy because like part of this, she's talking about the idea that some of this like self-centered like boundary work feminism is a little bit too far. You know, because I agree with you. And I think as women, we do need to tell each other that and ourselves that, like, all the time. Like, I think I say all the time, like, with the women in my life, like my mom, like my Nana, like whatever, I see them constantly. They're not super Christians or whatever, but definitely grew up with that mindset of you have to help others all the time. You need to give of yourself. Like, did it, like, to a point where it's like, okay, but how are you, though? And if you ask them that, they're going to cry. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's too far. So I think our generation of women has put much more of a focus on like selfishness and taking care of ourselves and setting boundaries and all of that. But what she's essentially saying, and this is just a snippet from the article, I didn't pull like the whole thing, is that like it's gone like a little bit too far to the point where women are like, oh, well, I'm not doing anything. in relationships, which is kind of like this whole like sprinkle idea a little bit, like the bars on the floor, like you need to sit back, he should be proving everything to you, you shouldn't have to do anything, whatever. Like things are emotional labor that like are actually just parts of being like an equal partnership.
Right, bro. But I feel like it's so hard, like, because I feel like it was revolutionary for women to be like, no, I'm not going to help you with fucking everything all the fucking time. But in turn, it's like, now it's like, yeah, like, I'm not giving you anything. And it's the whole thing about, like, making a safe space for your partner who's a man to, like, open up and stuff. It's like we feel like, oh, well, I have to go through all that trouble to, like, make sure. And it's like,
safe.
Dude, like, that
and
is
he's not doing that for you most of the time.
Right. But it's like, if you don't put a gender on it, it's like you should prioritize making a safe space for your partner. And, like, I don't know, with the anxiety attack shit, like, if you're dating someone with an anxiety disorder, like, you should not have to talk them down every day.
Right. And I think that's where it gets misconstrued and, like, all of this stuff, like, we take things to extremes. Like, I think that it's a huge thing for women to be, like, setting boundaries in their friendships, in their working relationships, with their boyfriends, with their fucking parents, like, everyone. You need to, like, focus on you and not do that social coding of being a woman where you constantly have to put others before you and be a people pleaser. Like, that needs to stop in ourselves. But I also think, like, when it's all of these women, like, commenting on other people's TikToks or, like, relationships and, like, pushing that culture and, like, a place that they don't really have, like, a stance in, they're just seeing, like, a snippet of it, or even, like, women applying it to their own lives when they don't have enough self-awareness to be like, oh, maybe I should, like, be there for this person right now, or maybe in my relationship, like, I should write him a little note. Like, I don't need to make him fucking lunch every day, like a trad wife, whatever. But, like, if he buys me flowers, like, every few weeks, like, maybe I should do something nice for him too. Like, I'm not, like, the only one in this relationship kind of thing. But I think, like, the predominant, like, dump him, bars on the floor culture, like, places women in relationships on this, not really pedestal because it's so iffy with, like, patriarchy, but it's like, you shouldn't do anything because of how it's been in the past when, like, interpersonal relationship dynamics are different.
It's, like, so black and white. It's like we really need to get away from that. And it's like, that's, like, how I honestly live my life. Like, it is very black and white. Like, I'm very all or nothing mentality. And it's like, it's so dangerous. And I honestly feel like in turn for that, like, men seeing those comments about, like, oh, the bar's in hell, it's like, that's why you have these, like, men that are like, it's so hard to craft a Bumble message because they feel like they're just always being, like, torn down and, like, it's never enough. And I'm not being like, poor men, but it's like, that is a fact. Like, that is what the culture is, like, doing. And it's just separating us even further as well, too, because it's like, you know, unfortunately, like, online, it's like how women are their side versus the men's side. It's like making you think that every man thinks that way and every woman thinks this way. And it's just, like, so not true. And it's exhausting.
But we asked you guys, how do you feel about the dump him and bars on the floor culture? And 81% said women just want the best for other women. Next is 11%, pretty low. Women hold each other to unfair standards. And then both at 4% is it's feminist and people need to mind their business. I honestly, I'm like between, not feminist. I'm between women want the best for other women. Honestly, no. I think it's women want the best for other women. People need to mind their business and women hold each other to unfair standards. I think it's all of them because it's like in this, like, I do think the genuine feeling when it's not that women want the best for other women, I think it's projection or something else. But, like, I do think generally, especially when it's like friends, like if I tell you something like bad that this guy did to me or whatever, you're like, oh, you need to leave him. Like, what, like, you know, like you care about me. But when it's the internet, like it's a little like mind your business.
Yeah. No, this is what I think, babe. This is what I think. I think the intention behind dump him and bars on the floor culture was that women want the best for other women. But the result was women holding each other to unfair standards because it's like, we know how men are. We know how the majority of them are and their internalized little misogynistic brains operate. Yeah. So it's like, how can you expect every single woman to be with a fucking perfect man? There's not enough. They don't all exist. Like, and I hate saying this because I am so far from perfect, you guys. Like, I fuck up all the time. Like, honestly. With all sorts of shit. Like, we're just humans. Like, you know, and it's like whiteness is like insane. And like, you know, do I do white people shit sometimes? Yes, absolutely. But it's like the whole point to like unlearn all of that is to be honest and acknowledge it. It's a both and. It's not just like, you know, like, I don't know. It's just really
I know
hard.
It's hard because I think on one sense it's like great that so many women are raising the bar in a lot of things and like wanting to decenter men and like wanting to come after like men for mistreating women in public and like all of these things. But I think like we've lost the plot in some of it when we start hating on other women or hating on couples like Monet and Jalen who seem like pretty healthy otherwise, you know, like that just seems like an opinion we don't love that he has, but they seem like they have a fucking healthy relationship. Like, you know, and even other stars and stuff, like sometimes I wonder if it's just like a PR thing, but we can't all like PR train our fucking boyfriends. Like, imagine, like I've thought about that before, even with this podcast, like, and all the guys that I've been like seeing, dating recently, like all that stuff, like every single fucking one has said some like crazy shit where I've wondered with the podcast that we have, like, oh, if we ever got big someday and they said this, like, would that look bad on me? But it's like, what, like, I'm not his keeper. It would, but like, I'm not his fucking keeper. Like, I can like try to have like conversations with him, like alone, like when we're together, like whatever. But like, what else can you really fucking do?
And people are unpredictable too. Like, you know, it's different if you're like, oh, I hope he doesn't say that. I hope he doesn't say that. And then he does. But like, sometimes people are thrown off. Like, oh my God, I can't believe my partner said that. Like, it's
this
not
is a new
like
thing. Yeah.
Right. Like, unless you've been married for 15 years, like, I don't think you really still continue to get to know people. Like, it's not, but yeah, it's really fucking hard. We asked you guys too, though, is a man embarrassing you a deal breaker for the relationship? And 45% said it depends, 40% said yes, and 15% said no. And I feel like if your partner is embarrassing you, like you probably shouldn't want to be with someone that embarrasses you. Like I don't know, but I know that like in this context, embarrassing in quotes is like it's a different type of embarrassing.
Right.
You know? Because you could argue, well, it's definitely going to happen. Like, you're not going to have someone be fucking perfect.
Like, we've embarrassed each other before. Like, you know, our parents have embarrassed. Like, it depends on what you're talking about. Because I think it's, like, the people at the beginning that shared the funny stories about, like, their boyfriend's music taste. Or their boyfriend, like, wanting them to just be okay after they're fighting and, like, just go to the store crying or whatever. Like,
right.
That's, like, I don't think something to break up with somebody over. But, like, I would argue that, like, your boyfriend talking to you crazy in public or, like, disrespecting you, like cheating on you, like those types of things, like, yeah, dump him, girl, whatever. But it's like, it's so subjective that I don't know. I really don't know, because I've stayed with men that have embarrassed the fuck out of me. And I really don't know. It depends on the context.
Because you loved them. Like, it's not easy. Like,
right. Exactly.
It's not easy.
Which kind of brings us into the next and last thought before we wrap up. This is an article called "Should We Ever Judge a Woman by Who She Chooses to Have Sex With?" And it's not just sex, but they're talking about love, relationships, like all of those things. And it's really more of like them pondering this idea. So there's a couple questions in there that I want us to talk about. The article starts with, "I really can't stand Hailey Bieber," a friend said to me recently over a glass of wine. "Why not?" I asked. "She's married to Justin," the friend told me. "He left that monkey in a German zoo. He spat on people and he's anti-abortion. He's a weasel," she explained. "But that's him," I argued, "not her. They're different people." Ever since the conversation, I've been going back and forth on a thorny issue. How far does the man a woman chooses to have sex with or have a relationship with define her as a person? My naturally sex-positive, no-judgment feminist side wants women to be free to sleep with whoever they like. The idea of judging a woman based on who she is sleeping with feels naturally very wrong. But that said, the people who we surround ourselves with are a reflection of who we are. The company we keep reflects our values and our morals. And as such, surely whoever you're romantically entangled with has to be considered a reflection of your character. Do these women condone their partner's behavior by continuing to be in a relationship with them? And if so, should we condemn them by extension? Or is it outdated and sexist to hold a woman to account for her husband's actions? I've slept with some very morally questionable people in my time, and I'd ideally prefer that they weren't used as a barometer for my personal values. That said, I've also cut off friends of mine for making racist jokes, continual low-level misogyny, or thinking that Hitler is funny. So perhaps the deciding factor here isn't who we have sex with, but who we have relationships with, romantic or platonic. And then she talks about a couple different women, like Hailey Bieber, Melania Trump, and then some other woman who I don't know. And she says, maybe behind closed doors, these women try to change the men they love. Maybe Melania tells Donald to shut up about his wall. Maybe Carrie sends Boris on diversity training courses. And there's a small chance that Hailey Bieber has tried to explain to Justin that abortion is none of his business unless he grows a womb. If you love someone, it's easy to convince yourself that you can help them change, that your influence might lead them to become a better person. In the end, however, unfair it feels to judge a woman by her husband, boyfriend, or friend with benefits. The company we keep is a reflection of who we are. Of course, it depends what kind of behavior we're talking about and whether it's an isolated incident of an ongoing pattern. But if, like Melania Trump or any other high-profile woman, you attach yourself to someone who makes continual, conscious, and deliberate bad choices, then I'm afraid you might well be part of the problem. So let's talk about this, because I'm a little bit like, I like the part where she says, maybe behind closed doors, these women try to change the men they love. Yeah. And I think that's so fucking real, because I've been there. You've been there. Like, I think, and the other part of it is, like, we talk about all the time, like, and we were just talking about it, these algorithms push us to binaries. Like, you see, like, the extremes of both of these sides. Like, how else are we ever going to, like, come to a middle and, like, find understanding with each other unless it's in interpersonal relationships with different views? And I think the most opportunity for that to grow is with someone that, like, you have developed this, like, loving, like, sort of relationship with. But it's also, like, in the court of, like, public opinion and all of that, like, Melanie, I don't know how to say her fucking name, but Trump's wife. I feel like it's like Melania Trump. Like, you know, I don't think I've ever heard her say anything, like, against Trump. Like, she is standing by. But who's to say she's not behind closed doors? And, like, I don't know.
But no.
But, like, obviously you're standing by someone that's, like, a little fucking crazy. But, like, I mean, very fucking crazy. Like, I don't think there's, like, as many excuses for that. But, like.
Yeah, I feel like that's, yes. But I understand what you're saying. Yeah, it's, like. That one's, especially right now, like, fuck no, bitch. Like, she's dead to me, deadass. But I'm like, anyone, like, the Haley Justin, like, okay. You know what I mean? Like, here's my thing. Like, I've been in love with someone that completely did not share my values, and then someone that did. And I honestly feel like love hits different when you have a mutual understanding of your core values and your morals and things you believe in. Not that you're completely the fucking same, but like my first fucking partner, like that since then I haven't been with anyone that actually motherfucking aligns with me, and like it shows, you know. It's like it's not working out. Like can you love someone that has completely different ideas than you? Abso-fucking-lutely you can. Like, you definitely can. But I do think, like, if you're embarrassed by someone's views or, like, how they would go on a podcast and talk about women, like, I, honest to God, like, don't think you should be with them. But I also don't think that other people should be able to judge you for that. Like, at the beginning, it's like, well, they're different people, yada, yada, yada. And I think, like, when it comes on the type of view, whether it's hateful or not, I think that kind of goes away. Because at the end of the day, if you're with a bigot or someone that's like very hateful to a lot of groups of people, like, I'm like, that doesn't look good on you. Like, at fucking all, it really doesn't. And again, you can love someone and put that to the side, but at the end of the day, and like not experience it, you don't talk about it, agree to disagree, but like it will come up eventually, and like it will, you know. So I don't know, it's very complex, and it's very reminiscent of next week's episode, honestly.
Yeah, and we're gonna get into exactly, like, it's perfect for next week, especially with the political view stuff, because I do feel like it really depends on what it is. And like, I mean, I've been with people where it's like we share so many of the same core values with so many things, and then it'll get to like this one political issue or this one thing where we're complete fucking opposites on, and it's like, what do you do? Like, and I feel like generally with men, it's been either something having to do with like sexism type stuff
or transphobia
or gender transphobia or things around race. And it gets iffy because it's like it'll be someone, usually a black man, where it's like it gets complicated with what can I say, like, you know what I'm saying, like things like that. Exactly. Nothing.
So, you can say fucking nothing,
right? Because like if it's just a whole thing. But I don't know, like it is really difficult because it's like
same thing being with a woman of color. Like I've experienced that too, where I was like calling out racism and my partner of color was like, no, that's not racist. Shut the fuck up. And I'm like,
right.
What? Oh, okay.
Like I don't have the position to like say anything in this situation because this affects your identity more than it affects mine.
So maybe
but
I
then
should
at the
shut
same
the fuck
time,
up.
But then at the same time, if we were around a bunch of my like black girlfriends and you said that to around them, I would be like, what the fuck? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it gets so fucking complicated because it's like it really it's a lot, bro.
It's the intersectionality of it all for real, but at the end of the day, it's just like, I mean, a lot of this shit is case by case. And I think if you disagree on like one or two political things, like it's different than like someone like literally being like Republican versus Democrat. And I honestly think the whole Republican Democrat thing, it's like at this point, I don't fuck with
either of them.
And I
would fuck with Democrat more than Republican, but I don't fuck with like either.
But it's all capitalist. It's all
capitalist.
Stupid. And at the end of the day, it's still operating under white supremacy. So how much of it is to really like, I don't know.
Right.
But at this point, it's like, you guys, I just can't stop. Like, it's like we're literally voting against someone. Like, you guys, please vote for Biden.
Like, they're both, like, over 70, 80. Like, are we fucking serious?
Please vote for Biden, though, you guys. Like, honestly,
I saw a TikTok that was talking about all the things that are older than both of them. And
I saw that, too.
Interracial marriage.
Racial marriage.
What was one of the other? India?
It was, like...
The states of Hawaii and Alaska. Like, guys, it's so
I know.
ridiculous.
It was, like... I know. It was so like so many things that I was like, what? Like,
are we serious right now? Okay, guys, so I want to bring us to our wrap up, how we close every episode, talking about what we're wet, dry, and still a little bit confused about the topic. And I also want to bring this question from Sabrina Carpenter into our wet, dry, and confused and talk about what are we more afraid of, heartbreak or our egos alienating our female audiences?
First. Okay. Well, overall, I'm just so wet in general about this. Like, I'm gonna be so for real. Like, when Fiji first brought this to me, she was like, embarrassing, blah, blah, blah. Like, the Sabrina Carpenter song. I was like, yeah, for sure. I'm like, how is the Sabrina fucking what? Like, because I wasn't thinking about the lyrics. I was just like, this is a bop. Like, you know what I mean? So at first I was like, yeah. And then I thought I was going to come on here and we'd be like, Sabrina, da-da-da. But it was just not what I, like, imagined. And I think it's just, like, very interesting, this whole idea of like men being embarrassing, but it's not really them being embarrassing. It's like this whole like symbolic thing that we have going on in our culture.
Yeah.
And I just think it's like a very interesting thing for us to like break down, you know, because what really is going on here? And I think the conclusion of like just thinking about how like women are like on top low key, so it's like what they think matters more now, but it hurts more as women because it's like for women to judge you, like you expect a man to judge you, it's like we're all numb like a force field, but like when women judge you, like that shit hits. But and we've always said that, and it's the same thing. Like when a straight woman or just any woman in general compliments me in public, it's like that they're being honest. Like they would never just like go out of their way to do that. It's like, but when a guy does it, it's like like if I was wearing a trash bag, you'd say the same shit. So, anyways, but what are you more afraid of, heartbreak or ego? I mean, that is like crazy, you guys. I mean, I feel like honestly, like, I don't want to be pick me, but, like, I do kind of feel like heartbreak.
I do, too.
Because I also just feel like, overall, like, I do care what people think about me. Like, I'm not, like, a superpower, but, like, I've also done a lot of out-of-pocket shit that people have judged me for, so I'm kind of just like, it's a part of life. Like, I feel like I kind of got over that a little bit. Like, just from, like, being a stripper and, like, being different from my friends growing up and just like different in general, like different upbringing. Like it was always just like a lot to be, you know? So I don't know. And I just feel like heartbreak really hurts. But ego, it's like, I don't know. I just don't look at it like that. Like if a man fucks me over, that's on him. It's not on me. So if any woman's going to judge me for that, I'm just like, aw, you need to like read a book or non-internalized misogyny. Like it doesn't. But this is because we are normal people. We do not have like 20,000 people watching us. Like would it hit different if like fucking 20 million women were like, your boyfriend's crazy, Autumn, he did this, like maybe my answer would be different. But as of right now, it's like there's not a lot of eyes on me. I'm like, who's really got something to say? I don't know.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel like it's heartbreak for me too. I feel like the complex thing in it though is that like I usually don't go for like the best man. Like I'm not fucking with like a man that's like in gender studies and is like keen on all the topics I'm into. So like I do feel like there's also like an element of it where it's like a man can have the ability to break my heart but also fuck up my ego because like I shouldn't have been fucking with you in the first place because of some of your views or because of some of like whatever. So it's like a double situation going on like that.
Cause like,
you know,
like even with like when like now my ex-boyfriend like has a wife or whatever, like she hurt my ego because he was off here pretending like he never loved me and just acting like I literally fell off the fucking face of the planet and died when we had something. So I'm like, you are making me look crazy and like I'm just some hoe in your DMs when we had a full-on relationship. I met your grandmother. Like, and she doesn't know that. Like, you're just, so it's like, it's a little, I honestly think the two go in so, like, I think heartbreaks have been worse for me when they did full-on leave me for someone else. They came to me and said, hey, I have strong feelings for someone else, so I'm going to break up with you. That's happened to me twice, bitch. Twice. So it's like they kind of like fell into the same thing.
Yeah.
They crashed together for me.
Yeah, because it's like embarrassing, it's ego, it's also heartbreak. Like it's both. But like I will say, like as far as wet with all this stuff, like the other side of things and like, I don't know, like women are talking about it more, you know, like we always say this, but like Sabrina Carpenter with this song and even Charlie XCX talking like on most of her album about issues with women versus issues with men and like friendships and frenemies and like all this stuff. Like I feel like I do like that women are like owning their insecurities more. And even like TikToks when you have like the trauma candy bucket or you're like put your finger down if this or like I stayed with him when he still did this. Like we all have similar experiences and I think it's better for us to like relate over those things and be like, yeah, like we're fucking figuring it out versus like, oh no, girl, like you need to stand the fuck up. So like there is a culture like that I think is like we weren't paying attention to as much in this episode, but like I'm what about that side, you know?
And like women being like it's like we're not perfect, you know? It's like we do have like, you know, pettiness and cattiness and like, you know, are being judgmental of each other. And it's like, let's just not all focus on fuck men. It's like, how can we hold ourselves accountable? It's like we should be talking about those problems as well, too. But I don't know. I guess for dry, like, I think it's just honestly hard to be like any fucking celebrity with a platform right now. And like, especially like women that are like being really powerful and like making a lot of shit happen because at the end of the day it kind of just feels like people are waiting for you to fuck up. You know? It's like they can't be this perfect, they can't be the it girl for, you know, 10 years. It's like eventually something's gonna go wrong and like I don't know, we say it all the time, but it's just this like wildfire viral TikTok short form content news source that's not really a news source world is like very much not helping the problem of like the polarizing fucking genders and political sides. Like it's just like it's hard to watch sometimes, and just the whole like Jalen Monet, you know, situation is pretty fucking dry, honestly. Like I honestly, like regardless of they're good people or not, like I really do feel like people should have just left her alone. Yeah. And just gone after him. Like honestly, I don't think people shouldn't have called him out. Like that was a pretty fucking weird. Yeah. He did say that, you know, and like, was it the worst thing I've heard? No, but like, it's just crazy that the immediate reaction is to be like, damn, like, and that man has a girlfriend, so what's wrong with her? It's like, oh my God. Like, and that's when it's like celibacy, people don't want to date. Like, it's like, because they're scared. Like, they're fucking scared.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say.
Sorry.
Yeah, I would say the same. Like, I feel like I'm dry about just, like, in general, like, how when a man fucks up, like, we just jump to the women's platform to like, yell at her or tell her to stand up and be like, oh, how could you be with this guy? When, like, you know, like, maybe she doesn't even fucking know about it yet. Like, I don't know. Like she's off doing her own shit. And, like, maybe this is a conversation that they have, like, alone when they're watching Netflix all the time about this soft era shit, and she's like, Jalen, shut the fuck up. Like, I don't know, you know, but it's weird how we like jump, and we never will. So, like, I think we need to leave that alone a little bit more. But I'm also dry about the media literacy. Like, I know, like, we deep dive this stuff because of the podcast. Like, maybe we wouldn't if we didn't, but, like, I still find myself when I'm on TikTok and I find something that seems a little, like, weird or polarizing, I'm like, let me look into this, because, like, I don't know, like, it's fun to go down a rabbit hole sometimes. And I think especially before you comment, like you said, what's the second thought or whatever, do that, follow that before you just jump on some fucking crazy ass bandwagon. So, like, dry about that for sure.
But I do feel like you're unique, because I definitely, if I see something on TikTok and I see all these people reacting a certain way, like, I am like, my first thought is that they're right. I'm like, this is completely fucking accurate. It's seamless, bitch. Like, I do feel that way. And I think a lot of people do too. Like,
see, I think for me, it's like ego and fear of embarrassment also, though, because I don't want to get caught commenting some, oh yeah, shit on some fake news or some shit that I didn't even properly research. You know? Yeah, so, like, for me, that's like, I want to, like, do my research, but I feel you. Maybe it's niche. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I think it's amazing of you, and I do think it's not the norm. Like, I think in general, like, not saying I'm dumb, but, like, people that live here, like, Americans, like, we're dumb and lazy.
Americans, yeah.
Like, we are. Like, I'm like, that's... Anyways, so... For confused, like, I feel like especially that last article really spoke to me, because, like, it was a part of, like, you know, should we judge? Okay, so it's like, it basically said, like, it's not about who she fucks, but it's like if she has a platonic or romantic relationship. So it's like, women can go fuck a fucking terrorist for a one-night stand and it's okay. But, like, if they date one, that's different. And so that's when it's like the sex positive shit, because it's like no one wants to be the one that's like, oh, she shouldn't have fucked him, shame, sex, woman, shame, shame, shame. But it's like that. It's like, we can't take it that far. Like, honestly, like, if you didn't know he was a terrorist and you fucked him, that's one thing. But, like, if he I'm like, you slept with him, and, like, this is when it hit me, because you guys, I dated like someone that, like, supports Trump and, like, that sort of shit, like, for a little bit. And, like, I was like, we're, like, opposites. Like, it's fine. Maybe we can teach each other. Yeah, we'll figure it out. Like, I'm not, like, how am I going to let someone's views, like, stop me from love, which is the great joy of the world, like, gaslighting myself and everyone else. Like, it's fine. And then I was watching this podcast, and it was just, like, the problem is, like, unfortunately, other people's views and you're dating them, it does say something about you. Yeah. And I'm so quick to rule out anyone on the internet that says something micro fucked up. I'm like, oh, canceled, she fucking, bitch. Like, but I can go ahead and date someone that's fucking, what? So then I had to really sit with myself. And I was like, you know what? We're done. So I broke up. Never said that was the reason we broke up, but low-key it fucking was. Like, that was a huge part of it. And so my whole thing is just, like, the sex and the relationship and, like, the bad person. Like, it's very confusing. Yeah. Because people make the argument, like, oh, like, we shouldn't rule things out just because of their beliefs. Like, we don't have to agree on everything. But I just feel like it
depends on what it is.
We're in such a war zone right now. Like, everything feels really heavy because it is. Like, people, like, keep saying, like, a war is going to come to the U.S. Like, everybody hates us, you guys. Like, it's like bad things are really happening like right now. So it's not just like, oh, like I don't like trans people. Like if someone says that, I'm like, oh, you think trans people should be dead. That's what I go to. And so I'm like, fuck you and your mom and every fucking...
Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah, I know. I feel the same because it's like, I mean, especially if you're going on a date with it. Like, I had a date, like, recently with someone who, like, shared that they liked Trump, and then they started saying these things that were fetishizing. This was a black man, and he started saying things that were fetishizing the fact that I was white, and then also said some unsavory things about black women. And I was like, okay, fuck no. Like, this was only, like, my second date with him, and I was like, this is way too early, like... And regardless, like, no, like, I'm not standing for this. Like, I can't be with a man like that. But I've had, like, other ones where it's, like, you don't find out until later. And it's, like, their views are, like, a little bit off, but not quite. Like, I think it's so complicated. And I feel like I used to be someone who would jump really quick, like, with Jalen and the fucking soft man shit to be, like, oh, when he says this, this is what it equates to. And this aligns to this. Because, like, it does push us, like, far apart when sometimes they're... understanding of things is different, but you can come to a middle ground. So I guess I'm confused about like what that middle place is and which values, because like obviously like racism, homophobia, sexism, transphobia, like all of those things, like, and especially like terrorism, violence, like hate, like any of that shit, like no. But like I don't know, like
I don't know because I'm bisexual and gay. And the last man I dated would say the F-A-G-G-O-T word. And I was like, it's fine.
No, and that's what I'm saying. And that's why I feel like it's an epidemic, because I feel like every guy that I've met and fucked with recently, like, they can have, like, progressive views about certain shit. But then, like, they'll come out the cut with this random ass, like, whoa, what the fuck are you saying? But I also feel like they're victims of the algorithm. They're victims of the patriarchy. They're victims of all this shit. And, like, again, when I'm talking about black men, like, I can't say certain shit about certain stuff. Like, it's weird. Like, we live in a world, and that's why I'm, like, on the cusp of being, like, I think the only way we can really find change is through interpersonal relationships. And then I'm also, like, no, leave them completely and form your own little whatever. But is that also going to lead more to, like, pulling us apart? I don't know. But I will
think go ahead.
I was just going to say, I will say that, like, I definitely would leave, like, a guy over, like, talking to me super crazy in public or, like, the cheating on me, like, all of that stuff. Like, I do feel like, fuck that. Like, if he's disrespecting you and your personhood and, like, whatever, like, that's, like, leading to toxic relationship. But it's just, when it comes to, like, opinions and stuff, it's so iffy.
Right. So and now you would leave them. Now
I would, but I didn't.
Because we've done so, like this, if you're like 16 and listening to this right now, it's like, it takes so long to get to that point where it's like, and it all comes from, it's like, you have to believe that you deserve fucking love and to be treated right before you to be able to leave someone for that. Mm-hmm. Like dead ass. Like there's no way, because you're just like, I love them. I don't want to be alone. I'll figure it out and stay. That's always the thought process. But when you get to a point where you're like, I genuinely deserve it. Like, that's a fact. So why, like, you leave.
And then, like, go ahead.
Go.
I was just going to say, and then the other confusing part is, like, with women, for me, it's more, like, in your friendships and stuff like that. Because, like, like, what to tell people, what not to tell people, what to say when your friend tells you something, what not to. Because, like, I'm also the type of person, like, if a girl tells me something crazy that her man did that I think is whatever, like, I'm not going to be weird towards him when I meet him. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
like,
you're so good about
like,
that.
I'm going to be, like, nice and normal and act like I don't know anything. Like, because it's, like, I don't want to embarrass her, like, even more. So, like, all those dynamics, like, it's a little bit...
And it's hard because I've been in that situation. It's like, I don't even know how to be nice to this man damn near. Like, I really don't. But I think that... Yeah, and the last thing I'll say is, like, at the end of the day with these, like, opposite views and if you should be with them, if you should break up with them, blah, 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 I think it's, like, so incredibly hard to find someone that you agree on every single view with. But, like, at the end of the day, you just need to find someone that doesn't have any hateful views. Like, if they're, like, you know, I'm never going to stop going to Shein. Like, I don't care about the, like, okay, that was, cut that. But it's like, if they have a view that is like, you don't agree with it, maybe it's a little harsh, but it doesn't actually
and it also depends.
anyone.
Exactly, because that's what I'm thinking of. Like, I'm thinking about men where it's like they say something and you're like, wait, what the fuck? Like, you think that? But they're not even voting. They're not posting about this crazy shit. They're not acting on anything crazy. Like, they probably consumed one piece of content that made them think a different way. And then it's like, okay, there's room for growth here. Or there's like whatever. But like, if you're with someone who is actively like campaigning for some hateful shit, who is using their platform to do something crazy, who is being violent towards other people,
going out in public
hateful,
and spewing
then
it.
yes, like that says something about you because you're standing by and you're not doing anything about it. I think when it goes that far, like, yeah,
it's hard. But yeah, whoo, we just got really heated, you guys. But this is the end of the episode, so please let us know what you thought in the comments below, or if you're on, you know, Spotify, always DM us. Let us know what you thought. Like, we love constructive criticism or just anything that you got from this. Like, please share it with us. On YouTube, we would love it if you could subscribe, turn on your post notifications, give this video a like. And if you're on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, any of that, just make sure you do follow and definitely give us 5 stars. It would help us out literally so much. It takes 2 seconds to do it, and it would mean a lot to us. And we're also on Instagram, so you can, and TikTok as well. So we're kind of taking a brief hiatus from TikTok. It's a little hard to be on all these platforms, but we definitely are never going to post again, and we are active on Instagram, so make sure you follow us there. And again, for the polls. But yeah, we appreciate you guys so much. So please, just anything you can do to interact, please do it.
Yes, and make sure you check out Taylor Mushrooms. Again, the discount code is WET for 50% off for the first 50 listeners. So check that out. We love. Oh, we have listener support, 99 cents, $4.99, or $9.99, and it is in the bottom of the description of every single episode. No matter where you're listening, it is on Spotify. But yeah, we love you so much. We will catch you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.
Straight men need to step up their game and relationally with women, or they are going to be pushed out. We really are seeing this play out in real time through the 4B movement. If you're not aware of this movement, it's a radical feminist movement that originated in South Korea, but it has gone global in recent months. And the focus of it is decentering men, but in a very hardcore way. Straight women specifically are committing to not only never marrying men, but never being in relationships with men or dating men, and more significantly, to never having sex with men. And we are at a very interesting point in history now where sex toy technology is so good that women do not need men in a sex context. And there's obviously been a trend for a while now of women committing to platonic life partnerships, which is where they move in together with a best friend of the same gender and have a completely but committed lifelong relationship, because they are finding more meaning in that relationship and more connection and support and validation than what they are getting through their relationships with men. I think for so long men have seen it as some kind of threat that they can make, like, well, you need men, like, what will you do without us? But women are literally at a point where they are so fed up that they are saying, we don't care. We are just really sick of men's shit. This is the consequence of toxic masculinity. This is the consequence of this whole alpha male movement that was led by the likes of Andrew Tate and Jordan Peterson, telling men that women need to go back to traditional gender roles. Women need to go back to the kitchen. Women can't have OnlyFans pages. They can't have Instagram accounts. They can't wear certain items of clothing. Women are just like, fuck that. We're just going to do us. And if the human race dies out because we're no longer procreating, then so be it.